clouds fall, you are within, you are within.
Hello, good evening, good morning, wherever you are. My name is Winnie Coco, and I'm also the founder and executive director at Elimisha Binti Initiative, a non-profit that supports the education of deaf and hard of hearing girls in rural Kenya, Africa. I'm here today because I've been having this prompting from the Holy Spirit for the last few months, just to come online and start to engage with my audience, to talk about my life and also some of the experiences that God has brought me through from the time I was born up until today. For sure, it's a lot, and there's no way that I can even put it in writing, but I can speak about it, and that's why we're here today. And so thank you. And one of the highlights that I have today for you is a highlight from my fundraiser, the fundraiser that I had for a non-profit that I run. This is a non-profit that supports the education of deaf and hard of hearing girls in rural Kenya, Africa. And we do that by paying tuition assistance and also providing assistive technology and providing mentoring opportunities for girls who are deaf and hard of hearing in economically disadvantaged communities in Africa, Kenya. So today I'm just here to share with you a little bit about my experience, but most importantly to share with you the speech that I made when we had the fundraiser. I know a lot of you are not at the function, but I felt that it would be very good for me to come up here and share with you part of that inspiring speech that I did share with my audience or my attendees at that time. And it's a story of inspiration when I think about it. A story that really connects with a lot of people, especially when you think about the primary focus of our organization and the force that drives us to really continue working with these girls and helping them in different spheres of life. I felt that this story really connected to our mission. And so I wanted to talk about my grandfather, or rather, let me say my great uncle. Yeah, how do you call your grandfather's brother? That's my great uncle. And so my great uncle was a blind man, and he was the only brother to my grandfather. There were just the two of them, born to my great grandfather and my great grandmother. And so these two boys grew up together, and of course when they got to adulthood, they got to marry different women, their wives. And my grandfather married two women, but my great granduncle or my grand uncle married one wife. He was a blind man, remember? And so he didn't have any kind of work, like he wasn't skilled or anything. He was just a regular man living in the village with his wife and children, and they had one cow in their possession. That was like the entire wealth or the entire possessions that they had was one cow that they milked in the morning for food, and they also used it for other things, just that one cow. My grandfather on the other side was also not educated. He never went to school, but he was a self-proclaimed doctor. As a matter of fact, he issued medicine and also issued injections to people who were sick in the village. And I think about it sometimes, and I feel that perhaps it was because there were no doctors in the village, and the hospitals were really far at that time, and they were really not accessible to so many people. And so he decided to make himself the self-proclaimed doctor, and he was the doctor in the village. And so they raised their children together, and when my dad was born, he was the second son to my grandfather's second wife, who was my grandmother. And my grandmother at that time, she was a very interesting woman, very beautiful on the outward, very like aesthetically she was really pleasing. She was a very beautiful woman. And in terms of the way she interacted with other people and the way she lived her life and took care of her family, it was so non-traditional, and she veered away so much from what the societal expectation was of how women were supposed to live and how women were supposed to guide their families through different areas of life. And so she used to be very smart also, and she would spend her day primarily in the marketplace. For the most part, she would spend her day in the marketplace. And what she did there was to calculate change, or to give change to women who and other merchants who are selling items in the marketplace. So her job was primarily going there to calculate the money, help them make the change, because she knew how to count money. Despite the fact that she never went to school, she was very good at calculation, and she would make change, and after that they would give her some grocery to bring back home. So she was non-traditional in the sense that she was not, I don't want to say nurturing, but for lack of a better term, but when I hear the story from my parents and my aunties and my uncles and everybody else who knew her at that time, I would say she did not have that. I really think she was nurturing. I think what she did not have was the societal expectations of what a woman should be. Like, sit home, take care of your children, give birth, and that's it. But she was so non-traditional that none of that fell into her. So she kind of, I don't want to say rebelled, but somehow she did, and her job would just be to go to the market and make change and bring grocery home. That's all she did. And so when my dad grew up and attained that age of joining high school, my grandmother could not pay his tuition because it was pretty expensive at that time, so she couldn't. But remember, they have a doctor in the house, and so the doctor, ironically, the doctor also did not pay for his tuition. My grandfather never really believed in the value of education. I mean, why? If you can become a doctor without even a degree, then why would you bother bringing your kids to school? And so he never did. And my father, after finishing high school, had to go and take care of cows at a neighboring in a neighboring tribe. Those were the Maasais who were neighboring our community at that time. And so his father advised him to go to the Maasais to go take care of the cows. And so he left immediately. He finished primary school. Sorry, I said earlier on I had said high school, but I meant primary school. So when he finished primary school, he went to take care of cows in the neighboring tribe, who were the Maasais. And so he stayed there for quite a while, for about 3, 4, 5 years, just taking care of cows. And at one time he came back home to visit his family. And it happened that he had gone to see his blind uncle at that time. Remember the blind grand uncle I talked to you about earlier when I started? Yeah, so he went to visit his grand uncle. I mean his uncle, that's his uncle now, yeah. And his uncle realized that he hadn't gone to school. He hadn't gone to school after his primary education. And so he was really upset. And one thing, or the next thing that he did, was one thing that blew my mind when I was told about it. It literally blew my mind. This man, out of his act of selflessness and kindness, decided to take the one and only cow that he had, sold it, and gave the money to my dad. I'm going to say that again. He took the cow, sold it, and gave the money to my dad. Why? So you may ask yourself. The reason is because he wanted my dad to go to school. He really valued that education so much. And you know, my dad was a very smart person at school as well, just like his mom. And so he did well in mathematics and everything else. And he was actually one of the top students in his school at that time. And so my great-grand-uncle did this one act of kindness and selflessness, took his only cow, sold it so that my father could go to school. And so my father took that money. It was only 5 shillings, Kenyan shillings. I think at that time it would be an equivalent of about $500 to $700. And so he took this money, and with it he went to high school. He bought himself stuff and went to high school. And he continued to study, and after a few years he graduated from high school. And at that time college was free. And so he was able to join a teacher's training college right away. And then he did his teacher training. And when he finished, luckily enough, at that time also, jobs were just waiting for them whenever they would come from college. And so he got a job right away, and he started working immediately he came from college. And so my dad continued this way for a very long time, just teaching. And the thing he did immediately for him as well, when he finished his college and he got a job, was to come back and start educating his siblings. And I remember him telling me that with his first salary, he went back home, got his brothers, made sure they got to school, got his sisters. And let me tell you, at that time, the girls never used to go to school, not at all. You'd be born, take care of the home with your mother, alongside your mother. When you come of age, that would be like 13, 14, as long as you hit teenagehood, you'd get married. And so he went back and got these little sisters of his that had not been married yet, and he brought all of them to school. And it did not just end there. He went again to his uncle's house. Remember the blind uncle that sold everything for him? He went back to my uncle, and he also made sure that all of those cousins of his went to school. And my dad, I don't know if it was that one act of kindness that really triggered the person that he was, because I grew up seeing my dad taking care of everybody, literally. He sent them to distant relatives to take care of them, and these relatives brought them to school and helped them in one way or the other. And so from one act of kindness, taking my great-grand-uncle, selling his only cow so that my dad could go to school, my dad saw to it that his entire community, like his siblings back home, his uncle, his cousins, and everybody else went to school. And other than that, he extended the kindness even to street children who are not even his relatives. He just made sure that everybody went to school. He would come back to the village and find those the little herds boys who would come to our village to take care of cows, and he would make sure that they go to school. And as a matter of fact, as I'm talking to you right now, there's one boy who was taking care of cows in our village, and my dad made sure that he went back to school. And as I'm speaking to you, he's currently living in the United States and working over here and training as a nurse. And so you'd ask yourself why I'm telling you this story. Well, I'm telling you this story because it's a story that really resonates with me. It resonates with me because I see an act of kindness that went forth from one person and spread over to so many different people and helped so many different people in different areas of the world. And with that in mind, I want to speak to you what it means to be kind and what it means to show kindness. And so for everyone that attended the fundraiser that I held about 2 weeks ago, and for everyone else who is supporting us in one way or the other online through prayers, through your online donations and all those avenues, I want to say that from the bottom of my heart, I really appreciate you. Your help and your support to us does not go unnoticed, and God will surely reward you for everything that you do. And I hope that this story really inspires somebody there to think about helping, even if you don't have anything. If you have a cent, if you have 2 cents, if you have a cow, if you have 2 cows, just like my grand uncle, you can use that to bless the life of another person. So think about that today when you go to grab that matcha, when you go to sorry, I'm laughing. I have a friend who drinks matcha every day, and I don't know why matcha just came into my mind. Friend, you know yourself. I didn't mean that, but yeah, but I'm gonna use you as an example. if you're drinking that matcha every day, or if you're drinking that coffee every day, or that hot chocolate every morning when you go to work, or that lunch that you buy every day to go to work, please skip one day and use that money to support somebody somewhere who may need help. It may be through my organization if you wish. It may be through somebody else, or just another group, or any cause that you feel really speaks to your heart. Mine is educating girls who are deaf and hard of hearing back in Kenya. If that speaks to you, then please feel free to support us. I'm going to put the descriptions and the links to donate and support our organization in the links in the description section. And I really hope to continue coming up here to speak with you, because I feel, or I know that I do have a lot to share, and no other better community than this. And I know that we are going to have a very good time moving forward. So thank you so much for tuning in today. As you can see, I'm just starting. I only have 30 subscribers. So please hit the subscribe button, and I hope to come back again. And please, you can also comment. Let me know what you want us to talk about. I'm open to talk about a lot of things, but what the Spirit of God prompted me to do was just to share pieces of my life, and to see if they're going to be a blessing to somebody or an encouragement to somebody out there. And yeah, that's why we're here. So I look forward to seeing you in the next video. I'm hoping I'm going to be dropping them soon. Pray for me. But yeah, it was really great to see you. And please subscribe. I'll see you next time. Thank you. Bye-bye.
For